Welcome back to this new inspirational video. Today we'll be going over some important points found in a lecture given by Neville Goddard. It's something I found 7 years ago, and back then it was titled Self-Talk Creates Reality. Now I can't confirm whether it's the official title, but regardless we'll still be working with this concept. Do you ever catch that still voice from within? Everyone has one, but not everyone is aware of it. In fact, in many cases this inner talking we indulge in might suggest all sorts of negative limiting things. Can we get away from it? And if so, how? Well, you won't get away from it entirely. Maybe in deep meditations you can find total stillness, and so temporarily it goes quiet inside consciousness. But as long as we're here, living this life, it will come back over and over again. So instead of trying to get away from it, how about I propose we figure out together how we can make that inner voice work to our advantage? Would you be interested in that? Well, let's listen to what Neville had to say.
Talking to oneself is a habit everyone indulges in. We could no more stop talking to ourselves than we could stop eating and drinking. All that we can do is control the nature and the direction of our inner conversations. Most of us are totally unaware of the fact that our inner conversations are the causes of the circumstances of our life. We are told that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. But do we know that man's thinking follows the tracks laid down in his own inner conversations? To turn the tracks to which he is tied in the direction in which he wants to go, he must put off his former conversation, which is called in the Bible the old man, and be renewed in the spirit of his mind. Speech is the image of mind. Therefore, to change his mind, he must first change his speech. By speech is meant those mental conversations we carry on with ourselves. The world is a magic circle of infinite possible mental transformations, for there are an infinite number of possible mental conversations. When man discovers the creative power of inner talking, he will realize his function and his mission in life. Then he can act to a purpose. Without such knowledge, he acts unconsciously.
Alright, here we go. Letting go of the old you so you can embrace the new you. Where do we start? First, I want you to be honest with yourself, for it's the quickest way to improve anything. Have you ever noticed yourself talking inside your mind in negative terms? When we doubt or worry, it is like holding conversations based on premises we don't even want to happen. These moments are part of our old self. The new self would be the person you become where your dream now a reality. So in order to stop the trend of negative conversations, we have to become aware that we can actually change those at will. Let me give you an example. Let's suppose you say within your mind, I can't achieve my dream. What happens next? Well, usually it's followed by negative feelings. Perhaps you might feel despair, sadness, hopeless, etc. Why are we allowing ourselves to entertain this thought if it's sabotaging our own happiness in life? I want you to experiment with this. Next time if you notice yourself talking in negative terms, change it around. So in this case, instead of saying and feeling, I can't achieve my dream, stop yourself right there and say, I can achieve my dream. How does it make you feel? More often than not, it actually makes us feel a little silly. I mean, you might actually feel you're lying and being delusional with that statement. Do you understand why this happens? It's because of the old self-image that's running the show. Put off the old man, renew your own mind, and set yourself free. Now it's important for you to figure this out based on the struggles you now face. Perhaps you don't suffer from the I can't attitude. It may be something else altogether. But the goal for you is to become aware when you are contradicting yourself inside consciousness. For once you do, you can take conscious control over it once and for all.
Everything is a manifestation of the mental conversations which go on in us without our being aware of them. But as civilized beings, we must become aware of them and act with a purpose. A man's mental conversations attracts his life. As long as there is no change in his inner talking, the personal history of the man remains the same. To attempt to change the world before we change our inner talking is the struggle against the very nature of things. Man can go round and round in the same circle of disappointments and misfortunes, not seeing them as caused by his own negative inner talking, but as caused by others. This may seem far-fetched, but it is a matter which lends itself to research and experiment. The formula the chemist illustrates is not more certainly provable than the formula of this science by which words are clothed in objective reality. One day a girl told me of her difficulties in working with her employer. She was convinced that he unjustly criticized and rejected her very best efforts. Upon hearing her story, I explained that if she thought him unfair, it was a sure sign that she herself was in need of a new conversation piece. There was no doubt but that she was mentally arguing with her employer, for others only echo that which we whisper to them in secret. She confessed that she argued with him mentally all day long. When she realized what she had been doing, she agreed to change her inner conversations with her employer. She imagined that he had congratulated her on her fine work, and that she, in turn, had thanked him for his praise and kindness. To her great delight, she soon discovered that her own attitude was the cause of all that befell her. The behavior of her employer reversed itself. It echoed, as it had always done, her mental conversations with him. I rarely see a person alone without wondering to what conversation piece is he tied. On what mysterious track is he walking?
Essentially what Neville is trying to reveal is that through our ability to change the subjective trend of our minds, we can alter our physical reality. Now in this case, he went as far as to say change the behavior of another person. When a lady who was struggling changed her inner conversations about this person. Do you understand why this works? Do you understand how this can benefit you? Again, at first glance you might not entirely grasp it, but let's break it down. If you catch yourself holding negative conversations inside your mind, you will obviously feel bad, and if you feel bad, you cannot attract anything positive to begin with. In fact, feeling bad attracts more bad ideas and circumstances into your life. So if we reverse this attitude of mind, we must attract great ideas and better circumstances. Remember, feeling is the secret. Changing the way you talk within your mind has a real effect on your physical life. What great dream do you still desire to realize? What are you saying within your mind concerning this dream? Are they uplifting things or are they discouraging things? The sad reality of life is that we tend to speak and act on negative concepts almost out of habit, and therefore, if we try to change this around consciously, at first we might feel it's a struggle. We have been trained to act and follow the negative and limiting ideas of life for so long that it almost seems too good to be true, that a mere change within consciousness can change our whole physical lives around. But it is not too good to be true. It is a fact of life. It is a power you hold. If you didn't, you wouldn't even be able to listen to my words. It's the one seeing with the eyes, hearing with the ears, thinking with the mind, imagining with the mind, feeling the feelings inside consciousness. Yes, you have to become aware of the immortal observer operating with and through your very physical self. Once this part dawns on you, it becomes so obvious that taking control over your inner conversations is the key to ultimate freedom. It doesn't mean that the things will reshuffle themselves instantly in front of your eyes, but it does mean that it will lead your mind along the lines through which dreams can become a reality, through which bad circumstances can be outgrown.
We must begin to take life consciously, for the solution of all problems lies just in this. The second man, the Lord from heaven in all of us, is trying to become self-conscious in the body, that he may be about his Father's business. What are his labors? To imitate his Father, to become master of the Word, master of his inner talking, that he may mold this world of ours into a likeness with the kingdom of love. The prophet said, "Be ye imitators of God as dear children." How would I imitate God? Well, we are told that God calls things that are not seen as though they were seen, and the unseen become seen. This is the way the girl called forth praise and kindness from her employer. She carried on an imaginary conversation with her employer from the premise that he had praised her work, and he did. Our inner conversations represent in various ways the world we live in. Our individual worlds are self-revelations of our own inner speech. We are told that every idle word that men shall speak, they shall give account thereof. For by their words they shall be justified, and by their words they shall be condemned.
Be about your Father's business. Become a master of consciousness, of the Word. Well, the creative word, as Neville said in a previous video we covered, is your own imagination. That is the creative word of God, and we must learn to master it. When you are faced with negative dialogue going on inside your mind, stop yourself. Do not freak out. Do not feel like you'll be stuck forever because your reasoning mind is whispering all that nonsense to you. Instead, turn your back on the reasoning mind, the doubter, Satan of the mind, and look upwards into the realms of imagination. If you become a master of imagination, you'll become able to override negative tendency of your own mind by piercing them with visions of fulfilled desires. In order to master this power, you have to dare say to yourself, I am able to do whatsoever my imagination shows me I can do. As you practice this attitude, you will notice the inner conversations shift as time ticks on. They become increasingly more powerful. And as that happens, you start to see signs in your physical world that your life is indeed moving towards something better. But yet at the same time, you also don't want to look for signs too much. In other words, don't be too obsessed with your physical life itself, since this is a realm where everything is born and dies. But the inner you, that power that is speaking in the depths of your mind, is not of this world. It is not bound by time and space. And if that part of you starts talking from premises of yes, I can, and every other uplifting speech you can come up with, then you're in the process of renewing your mind and putting off the old limited self.
We abandon ourselves to negative inner talking, yet expect to retain command of life. Our present mental conversations do not recede into the past as man believes. They advance into the future to confront us as wasted or invested words. My word, said the prophet, shall not return unto me void, but it shall accomplish that which I please, and it shall prosper in all the things whereto I sent it. How would I send my word to help a friend? I would imagine that I am hearing his voice, that he is physically present, that my hand is on him. I would then congratulate him on his good fortune, tell him that I have never seen him look better. I would listen as though I heard him. I would imagine that he is telling me he has never felt better, he has never been happy. And I would know that in this loving, knowing communion with another, a communion populous with loving thoughts and feelings, that my word was sent, and it shall not return unto me void, but it shall prosper in the thing whereto I sent it. Now is the accepted time. Now is the day of salvation. It is only what is done now that counts, even though its effects may not be visible until tomorrow. Be called not aloud, but by an inner effort of intense attention. To listen attentively, as though you heard, is to create. The events and relationships of life are your word made visible. Most of us rob others of their willingness and their ability to be kind and generous by our fixed attitudes towards them. Our attitudes unfold within us in the form of mental conversations. Inner talking from premises of fulfilled desire is the way to consciously create circumstances. Our inner conversations are perpetually outpictured all around us in happenings. Therefore, what we desire to see and hear without, we must see and hear within. For the whole manifested world goes to show us what use we have made of the word. If you practice this art of controlled inner speaking, you too will know what a thrill it is to be able to say, and now I have told you before it come to pass, that when it is come to pass, ye might believe.
Now this is pretty much the whole point of his lecture. We have to become aware of the awesome power that we wield inside consciousness. Are you hearing the good news inside your imagination? Well, what good news are we talking about? Well, what would be the first thing you'd say if your dream was now a reality? You'd celebrate it in some way, perhaps by saying a certain line to yourself or by throwing a party. It doesn't matter what it is, but you have to start hearing and feeling the reality of this event inside your consciousness right here and now. Can you feel the joy that will be yours were you now what you desire to be? If so, then you got it right. If you're struggling with this point, then simply understand it's like working out your muscles. They don't grow strong instantly, but they grow over time. So you too will grow stronger in your ability to direct your inner conversations as you keep studying and applying the wisdom being shared with you today. It is a wonderful experience once you truly discover that you can control your own mind at will. You no longer have to let the old attitude of mind control your life, the one that doubts and worries about everything. Let go of your old self and embrace the new imaginative you, the Son of God, within you.
You will be able to consciously use your imagination to transform and channel the immense creative energies of your inner speech from the mental, emotional level to the physical level. And I do not know what limits, if any, there are to such a process. What is your aim? Does your inner talking match it? It must, you know. If you would realize your aim, or as the prophet asked, can two walk together except they be agreed? And of course the answer is no, they cannot. The two who must agree are your inner conversation and the state desired. That is, what you desire to see and hear without, you must see and hear within. Every stage of man's progress is made by the conscious exercise of his imagination, matching his inner speech to his fulfilled desire. As we control our inner talking, matching it to our fulfilled desires, we can lay aside all other processes. Then we simply act by clear imagination and intention. We imagine the wish fulfilled and carry on mental conversations from that premise. The right inner speech is the speech that would be yours were you to realize your ideal. In other words, it is the speech of fulfilled desire. Now you will understand how wise the ancient was when he told us in the Hermetica. There are two gifts which God has bestowed upon man alone and on no other mortal creature. These two are mind and speech, and the gift of mind and speech is equivalent to that of immortality. If a man uses these two gifts rightly, he will differ in nothing from the immortals. And when he quits his body, mind and speech will be his guides, and by them he will be brought into the troop of the gods and the souls that have attained to bliss. With the gift of mind and speech, you create the conditions and circumstances of life. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. The Word, said Hermes, is Son, and mind is Father of the Word. They are not separate one from the other, for life is the union of word and mind. You and your inner talking or word are one. If your mind is one with your inner conversation, then to be transformed in mind is to be transformed in conversation. It was a flash of the deepest insight that taught Paul to write, "Put off the former conversation, the old man, which is corrupt, and be renewed in the spirit of your mind. Put on the new man." Put on the new man and be renewed in the spirit of your mind is to change your inner conversation, for speech and mind are one. A change of speech is a change of mind. The prophet Samuel said, "The Lord spake by me, and his word was in my tongue." If the Lord's word was in the prophet's tongue, then the Lord's mouth that uttered the word must be the prophet's mind. For inner conversations originate in the mind and produce little tiny speech movements in the tongue. The prophet is telling us that the mouth of God is the mind of man, that our inner conversations are the word of God, creating life about us as we create it within ourselves.
Now this stuff is so awesome, and it makes so much sense if we stop and really contemplate what was said by Neville. I hope it can offer you some more guidance and ideas that can help you achieve your wildest dreams in life. Always remember that all you ever need is your own wonderful imagination, and since you have one, keep exercising it and transform your life into something incredible that can be shared with all of creation. When negative inner conversations occur, transform them through the power of imagination. Simply affirm the polar opposite. Feel the truth and joy of these uplifting conversations instead, and then watch how your life transforms into something amazing. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And never forget, dear viewer, that we are the dreamers.